Second.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see now the start of the presentation?
Yeah, perfectly.
Is it moving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Turning.
Perfect. It works. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, let's wait 5 minutes more.
Yeah.
Just
How many
to-
participants do we expect?
There were a lot today, more than 100. So let's see to have at least half.
We connect to everybody to turn off the microphone just to not have the please. Thank you.
Na treh koncih moraš.
Un contra esta última visita. Hoy aquí hemos tenido un ambiente de bienvenida, de
Let's wait like just 1 or 2 minutes more just to be sure that everyone can be online, and I will start the introduction. Okay, let's start with the introduction. My name is Agnese Doro, and I'm from CEPES, one of the partner of this project, of Sea Bridge project. Now I will share my screen. Okay. So, welcome to the first session of the second training of the Sea Bridge. We had already first section the first training with two sessions, and today we start with the second. I will give you a small introduction about the Sea Bridge project and about the trainer of today, and then we will start with the training that is divided in two parts, and in between we'll have a small break about 10-15 minutes. And the main topic of today is the innovation management for social economy, small medium enterprises. So, Sea Bridge project is a project that is financed by the COSME program of the European Commission, and its main goal is to achieve a climate neutral economy by building resilience in social economy, small medium enterprises for a greener and digital production. The main coordinator, the main partner, the coordinator is EMIB, that is from Turkey. Then we have other partners, one from Slovenia, that is the Chamber of Craft and Small Business of Kamnik. That is main mission is to give responsibility alongside its effort to improve the business environment. And then we have two other partners from Spain, FEUGA and QNI Arrow. FEUGA that promotes technology transfer and innovation between university, industry, and society in general. And QNI Arrow that give the possibility to use a platform of experts to facilitate the sustainability and the digital transition for the industries that has high carbon emissions. Sorry. And then we have the ERNACT, that is an F6S, that are the partner from Ireland. ERNACT, that is a non-profit and digital transformation service agency. And F6S that also give the possibility to join a platform that is designed to help the startup to have connection with investors, mentors, partners, and other resources. And then we have CEPES, that is a non-profit international organization that is based in the south of Italy, in the city of Palermo. And we are in this project because we have expertises in education, innovation, and in project management. And also because we strongly believe in promoting lifelong learning and vocational training and entrepreneurship to enhance the opportunities for both youth and adults to make them improve their competencies and to boost the employability and inclusion. But why Sea Bridge? Why we believe in this project and we want to make you part of this project? First of all, because all we know that climate change is a global problem and one of the bigger challenge of our time. Then because we know that the European Green Deal in 2019 brought some new regulations, and one of the most important is the CBAM, the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, that involve and is direct linked with the energy intensive industries to reduce their carbon emissions. And then, because we strongly believe that only if we unite ourselves to each other, we can make good and an impact on a better and more sustainable future for our planet, for all of us. So these trainings are part of the project, and through them we want to enhance the competencies of the both managers and employees of the small medium enterprises in areas such as the digital and green transitions, and also to make them become aware of environmental impact of carbon emission, and starting and make them to start to taking some action. As I said, we already had the first training that it was divided in 2 sessions, and today is the first session of the second training, and the topic will be the innovation management. So let me now introduce you the trainer of today. She is Brigitta Thomas. She has a master's degree in organizational change and innovation management from the University of York St. John in the UK. She has been assisting organization in improving leadership and management system for over 15 years. She has expertise and in a practical approach to change and innovation management. She is a sought-after consultant for both private companies and the public sector. She is a member of a Chamber of Craft and Small Business of Slovenia and Toastmasters International. Okay, so I will give her the word, and we see with the break for the transition between the first part and the second part. So I will. Okay.
Hello. Thank you for this introduction. It's my honor to be here. As it was said, today's topic will be innovation management. And since this is a really, really wide topic, of course, 1.5 hours is absolutely not enough to cover everything, but we will do our best, at least to see the framework for the innovation management. Therefore, I'm going to share my presentation to not forget anything, and that will be easy to follow for you. Let me now share my presentation. Okay, can you just confirm that you see it so that we all have these technical challenges okay and done?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. And meantime, I would also like to invite you, if you have any questions or if something is not clear, please let me know. Either you turn on your microphone, or maybe we can discuss during the break, or we can also use the chat function. So let's begin. Today's topics, what we are going to cover. First thing, what is innovation and innovation management? Why it is so important that we see innovation as part of strategy, and what kind of KPIs can we establish within the innovation management. And then I would like to present you the innovation management framework that includes also the creativity and idea creation, which is one of the most important part of the innovation. And then, of course, the idea itself is not much worth if we don't develop and implement it. And now, first question for you. What is creativity? What is innovation, and how is connected with creativity, invention, change, and how it is all interconnected? What would you say? Do we have any suggestion here? You can turn on the microphone. I think that will be the easiest way to Let's talk, let's discuss. Okay, I guess you are not very chatty today. Let's see. What is actually innovation and what is the difference between innovation, invention, and creativity? Because within my consulting work, I see that there is a lot of misunderstanding of what is what. That's why I started my presentation with clear definition of what is which term stands for. So innovation means that we apply ideas, processes, products, or procedures which are new to the people or places where we are introducing them. Meanwhile, the invention is something completely new. So innovation might be already known in some areas, but we transfer this into the other area. Meanwhile, invention is something completely new, while the creativity is generating new ideas and perspectives. So creativity is actually part of the innovation process. And change, I like the statement then that every innovation is a change, while not every change is an innovation. Now, the second question for you. Can you think of some innovations? What would you say? First innovation that comes on your mind. Have you ever heard for internet? You must, because without internet, we wouldn't be able to be here. So we know many innovations, but it is also important to know that innovations are not just product and services. We can divide them into different let's say, areas. We know product and service innovation. Maybe electric vehicles, smartphones with advanced features. We know now foldable screens are super fashionable, or maybe contactless hotel check-ins. This is a service, an example of service innovation. But not just product and service innovation. We also have process or organizational innovation. For example, agile project management or automation and manufacturing using robotics. Here is a lot of innovation going on in recent decade. And then I have business model innovation. This is especially interesting to me personally. For example, ride-sharing platforms like Uber. It was a super important innovation regarding the business model area. And then we have also the marketing innovation. So it's not everything just product and services, but we all can, as we can see, there are more different areas where we can discuss innovation. And no matter which area the innovation is implemented, it's good that when we talk about innovation, we split between incremental, disruptive, and radical or breakthrough innovation. Incremental innovation means small innovative changes, while disruptive innovation means that disrupts, as the name suggests, disrupts at least one industry. For example, Uber disrupted the taxi industry, but not the whole world itself. While radical or breakthrough innovation, for example, like internet, really changed the world. And now we have AI that we can also say it is radical or breakthrough innovation. Okay, now let's just take a moment because I heard that my presentation is not seen. Just a second.
No, I think that maybe they are asking if we share after the presentation, after the end of the training.
Okay, but you can. But
yeah,
you
yeah,
can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome.
This.
No, don't worry.
Sorry for this interruption. It is important that you see my presentation. Okay. The question, is innovation just a happy coincidence? Maybe you go for a walk and then something magical happened and you get this brilliant idea with which you will change the world. Well, it might happen, but that is very, 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 very rare. Usually, the innovation is well-thought process that we follow, and not all ideas will become innovations, but if we want that at least some, let's say the best idea become innovation, which means that we monetize them, we have to follow some process. We have to follow some system, how to get from the idea to the market. And let's see this innovation roadmap. First, we have idea. Of course, we need a lot of creativity for having an ideas. And then we move to the selection and development of the idea. And further, we implement the idea. And the last section is to monetize the idea. Nothing that is possible if the organization we work at does not see the innovation as strategic, important area of work. And the strategy itself won't work if we don't have a specific culture and leadership that supports the innovation initiatives. Let's stop for a while at innovation strategy. I already mentioned today that innovation has to be a strategic decision. And in my practice, I often heard, well, we need to become more innovative. Okay, how? Or even better question would be, why? Well, because everyone is talking about the innovation. We need to be more innovative. I would like to be a bit more specific, and I push my clients as well to know what exactly would like to achieve with being more innovative. Meaning that while we decide strategically that innovation is part of our how we do things here, it's also super important that we set our KPIs at the beginning when we start thinking about innovation. So let's see what kind of KPIs we can keep performing indicators. What kind of KPIs can we set for ourselves or for our organization to be better at innovation process? Do you have maybe any KPI in mind? Can you suggest some KPI? What would you say? Come on, I know it's late afternoon, but I would still like you to encourage to connect with me, to discuss with me. What kind of KPIs maybe in your organization already have regarding the innovation? Just open the microphone and say. All right. Well, one of the personality traits of innovative people is also being, how to say, first to speak, first to be active, first to be proactive. So yes, this is the word what I was looking for, proactivity. So again, I would invite you to really discuss with me these things. Okay, well, let's see the KPI number 1, which is idea generation and idea management. The first KPI, or the first question we need to ask ourselves is, how many ideas is proposed during a specific period? For example, if we receive no ideas from our employees, then we might say a specific number, all right, since the innovation is now important part of our organization, how many ideas we would like to receive in a month, for example, or in a quarter, whatever period of time you choose. The second KPI, idea submission rate. What percentage of employees or stakeholders contributing ideas? Why is this idea submission rate so important? Because usually we get some ideas from R&D department or maybe marketing department, but what about the finances? What about the HR department? They might have a great idea or ideas for a specific challenge, but we don't encourage them to present those ideas. So when we talk about innovation, it is super important that we include the entire organization. So to increase the percentage of employees or stakeholders that contributes ideas. The third KPI, or the next KPI that we might talking about, is idea conversion rate. So how many of received ideas we managed to develop into prototypes or projects? So how many ideas goes from the ideas to the market? And cost per idea, of course, innovation costs. Innovation is not for free, and we need to, of course, first invest some money into it. And it is also important to monitor the ROI of our investment. KPI group number 2 is R&D and development metrics. What can we monitoring here? So R&D spent as a percentage of revenue. So how many percentage of the total revenues one organization dedicates to the R&D? This indicates the organizational commitment to innovation, because it is often practice that CEO or the management says, yes, we are super innovative, we want to be innovative, and then I ask them, okay, how much money are you ready to spend on that? Well, so it is super important that you also show that you dedicate some amount or some percentage of revenue for the innovations. Time to market. How much time do we need to develop and launch new product or service? Prototype success rate. Not all prototype will be a success. And it is also important to monitor how many of, not just our ideas to prototypes, but also prototypes to success we have. And also the patents. How many patents do we fill, and how many it is approved? KPI number 3, market and financial impact. Of course, we do innovation, and of course, we need to invest some money into innovation, but the end goal is to get some revenue back, right? And basically the most important KPI is the revenue from new products and services. Although this might be a long-term revenue, depends on the industry. However, revenue from new products and services is one of the most important KPIs that we should follow. Market share growth, absolutely. Due to new innovations, we might increase our market share. The similar to market share, also the customer acquisition rate. How many new customers we gain due to our new innovation or new solution, and nevertheless ROI, financial returns. In recent years, it is also very important to have in mind the sustainability and social impact. If we implement the innovation into, let's say, our company, how much energy we might save, and our carbon footprint, how can we improve our carbon footprint with innovative ideas. Social impact. What is our impact into communities we work in, especially in communities we work in, but also we can see these things wider. And also waste reduction through innovation. The group number 4, so this KPI group number 4, is super important also due to new regulations that are coming. Some of them are already in place, some of them are coming. And whatever we do, we need to check also from the perspective of sustainability and social impact. And nevertheless, it is not everything about market and the outside of the organization. The innovation is also about what is going on in the organization. So here we are talking about internal efficiency and culture. Employee engagement in innovation. So how many percentage of employees actively participating in innovation programs? Because the more people is participating in innovation programs, there is a connection with participating and general employee engagement. And we all know that only the organization with the higher employee engagement organization have, the more successful the organization is in many terms, not just the financial terms, but also the impact terms, the innovation implementation terms, and so on. The KPI that we can follow is also innovation training hours. Especially nowadays, in a super fast changing world, we need to upskill ourselves, and especially in a creative thinking and cooperation. And this is not something that we would be born with. Of course, some people are, let's say, naturally more creative, fine, but majority of people, we need some training on that. We are all very, very creative. We just might need some training in that area, or some push or encouragement in that area. And it is very, very important for the management that is aware of that, that more you invest in people, the more thinking, the creative thinking you will get from them. Process efficiency gains, absolutely. The more efficient our processes are, the better for the entire organization. And innovation collaboration rate. The number one killer of innovation in organization is fail in cross-departmental collaboration. Each department might be very innovative and very creative, but for the innovation to become a success, you need to cross-department cooperation and collaboration. And here, many organizations fail. Okay, so those were 5 groups of KPIs that you want to monitor. it's not necessary to monitor or set all those KPIs. This is just, let's say, a selection of them. The more, the better, absolutely, because it gives you really a good feeling about the state of innovation in your organization. However, if you don't manage to monitor all of them, which is quite a lot, however, at least few of them, select and monitor regularly. But the most important, set your goals, set your KPIs, not just say, I want to be more innovative. Set goals. What is innovative for you, for your organization, how you want to move from state where you are regarding the innovation to the state where you want to be. Well, talking about the internal efficiency and culture, you might be familiar with this gentleman. Peter Drucker famously said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Would you agree with that? I would consider silence for yes. If culture eats strategy for breakfast and we do the magnificent strategy, what about the culture? We also need to think about the culture, because the strategy itself, only the KPIs are not enough. We also need to think about our culture. What kind of culture supports innovation? Because, well, maybe let's just step back for a while and define the culture. What is actually the culture? The culture is norms, unwritten rules, and in very simple term, it's how we do things here. The culture might be written through the values, but more often the culture is not written. It's something that is untouchable, hard to define, but you can see how people talk to each other, how people cooperate with each other, how people do their things in the organization. And that is the face of the culture. So simply put, how are things done in here in this specific organization? Okay. What kind of culture supports innovation? I would like to present you with 5. Of course, there is many more, but from my experiences, these are the 5 most important elements of culture that supports the innovation in organizations. First, mistake tolerance. Imagine someone who is afraid of do the mistake. How eager this person will be to innovate, to be creative, to try something new? Absolutely not. He will stick with what he know, and he will stick with what he's doing well. So the first thing is mistake tolerance. The management needs to be okay that while people innovate, they're creative, they will do mistakes as well. And that is okay. The second thing is role modeling. Leadership. Meaning that leaders needs to be involved in innovation initiatives. So it's not enough just to say, yes, let's do the innovation, let's do the workshop, let's do the brainstorming, let's do this and that. Leaders needs to be actively involved in that. So basically, walk the talk. I already mentioned the collaboration, not just within the department, but also interdepartmental collaboration. Continuous learning, meaning that it's not enough to do your job well. It is always something that you can learn about. It is always something you want to improve about, meaning that you are involved in trainings, you are involved in different conferences, you are involved maybe in mentorship, you are involved in different things where you can learn things. And not just, this is very important, continuous learning, not just in a specific of your area of work, but try to expand a little bit. For example, if people from R&D of technical company, or they're doing some high tech, they should go to the marketing conference. It's totally not their area of work, but to expand the perspective, it's good sometimes to visit some other area of work as well. And dedicated resources. This is already something that I already mentioned today. Dedicated resources, meaning that organization do dedicate their finances, but not just finances, that they allow people to take time to innovate, for the innovation initiatives. Because time is also very important resource, and we need to be aware that creativity and innovation sometimes do take time, and management needs to be aware of that, and they need to allow for the employees to take that time. And now if you are a manager of the organization, something to think about tonight in the evening, what do you see as the biggest challenge in your organization? Which of these 5 elements is the biggest challenge in your organization? Discuss those. This is the suggestion that I often give. Discuss this with your leadership team. If you want to be more innovative, first check your culture. Does the culture support the innovation in your organization? And when you came to some challenges, the next thing is finding the solutions. What are possible solutions? When we are searching for solutions, we have many ways. Every problem have a solution. Usually not just one. And when we are talking about solutions, it is important to get different perspectives so that we can have more solutions we can choose from. Never stop at just one possible solution. And here comes the creativity in place. Without creativity, we will end up only with 1, maybe 2 solutions that are pretty much already known. Creativity and ideas. What is creativity? This little guy stands in the box, and yes, we can define the creativity as thinking out of the box. Absolutely, it is totally correct definition. And it is also coming up with and expressing new ideas and perspective. And the more important, it's thinking and deviating from a default path. So not just go straight, go right and left, go back. So deviate from a default path to find new solutions. And now, let me test your creativity. Look at the picture below. You can see a person holding a block of wood, a piece of wood. Okay, this red thing in his hand is a piece of wood. What will happen to the piece of wood when the person lets go of it? Any idea? Any suggestion? what will happen to this piece of wood when the person lets go of it? The first solution is quite obvious. The block will drop down, right? Because we know the gravity and everything we drop will drop. I mean, everything that falls out of our hand will drop on the ground. But that will happen only if we stay on Earth. What if this person was in the water? In that case, the block of wood will float up to the surface. Or what if this person is in space? Do not stop only in one solution. Think wider, because the most common answer is, of course, the most obvious one. But it is also important not to stop our creativity at the most obvious solutions. Go further. Because the creativity is all about stretching our mind. So how can we boost our creativity? Before we go to the short break, because we are already 45 minutes in this session, I will stop the presentation for a second, for a minute before we go to the break. And tell me, when I present you with this question, what will happen with a piece of wood? What was your thinking? What will happen with the, how your thoughts went? Has anyone think that maybe this person is not on Earth and might be, I don't know, in a space? Okay, so I guess your mind might be a bit tired already. So let's have a short break. We see each other in 15 minutes, 10, 15. What is a usually break?
Yeah, normally 10, 15 minutes. If you want, also 10, depending how long it will be the second part. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's have 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
And we see 10 minutes, and let's see each other in 3:55.
55, yeah.
No,
Let's
yeah,
see.
50. Yeah. Bye-bye. See you.
Okay, let's just wait 1 minute more.
Okay.
Okay, I think that we can start again with the second part of the training.
Yes, let's continue. I will share my presentation again. And I hope you had a chance to think about your thinking process regarding this guy with a piece of wood. What has happened with a piece of wood? Did you stay just in a regular solution, following that the piece of wood fall because of the gravity on the earth, or you manage to go out of the box thinking? So how can we boost our creativity? Because I believe that majority of us would stay with only one solution, only one idea that is fairly known already. But if we want to be innovative, we first need to be creative. So because we need new solutions, we need new ideas and new perspectives. So based on this guy with the wood, I will share again my presentation and show you how you can boost your creativity. Okay. So just let me repeat this super important sentence, that creativity is all about stretching our mind. And now the question is, how do we stretch our mind? There is many techniques that we can use. But the most important is, and one of the first thing that we need to ask ourselves, what are our boundaries? What are the boundaries which the solution must fit into? And what are the possibilities if you push the boundaries? So in our case, let's say that the gravity is our boundary. What would happen? So what kind of solution we could find if there is no gravity, for example? Yeah. Because the point of this question is that you start your thinking process from what we know, from the ordinary to unordinary, to different, to something totally, maybe even crazy. But crazy ideas are okay ideas. In the first part of the creativity process, for example, if you use the technique of brainstorming, the first rule of brainstorming is no judgment. Every idea is okay idea. Because why this is so important? If we want to find right idea, we first need to have many ideas. And in order to get many ideas, we must leave our judgment about the specific idea or ideas in front of the door of, let's say, meeting room where the brainstorming is held. First rule of brainstorming is, in the first phase, so no judgment, every idea is okay idea. And the craziest idea, the better, because we can then build on that ideas more. Okay, the next thing we would want to do is to change the angle we see the problem and the solution. And let's say, what assumptions about the challenge have you made? And in our case, we made an assumption that this guy stands on Earth. What rules have you assumed? We are full of rules that we take it for granted. But the point of creativity is to move that rules, to break that rules. And also how our own perceptions influence the possibility to be creative or the possibility to innovate, especially the perceptions about ourselves. If I say for myself, I'm not really creative, how many ideas will I have? Not much. And one thing that I really, really want you to take with you after this presentation is, we are all creative. We just need to push our mental boundaries a bit further, and we will find amazing ideas, even crazy ideas. But the point is, we are all creative. And the last thing, how can you change the situation to make a solution work? So sometimes we find a solution for the specific situation, but other times we have a great solution, but not the right situation. So how can we change the situation? Push the boundaries, push the existing things. And also, super important, how someone else would see the things. That's why I really put an emphasis today into the cooperation. Also, not just within one department in the organization, but within the multiple departments. The more different perspectives we get, the better ideas we will get and the better solutions. And also, one important question that we might want to consider is, if we have a challenge, how this challenge would be perceived in other countries, cultures, or companies. Or if we find a solution, how this solution might work in other countries, cultures, and companies. Stop making assumptions, but check your assumptions. What in my mind am I taking for granted? Check and challenge your assumptions. Do not follow the rules. In order to be creative, break the rules. All right? In name of the creativity, break the rules. Do not use only logic. Use imagination and intuition. The challenge is that in very fast-pacing world that we live in, we totally shut down our intuition and imagination as an adult. And in order to be creative, we need to rediscover our imagination and our intuition. And also, this is more for the organization and also for yourself. If you are fear of failure, if you are some kind of tend to be more perfectionist, forget about that. When you are in creative mood, risk taking, challenging the existing things is the name of the game. And if you are part of the organization, it is super important, so-called psychological safety, meaning that people feel safe to make mistakes. People feel safe to say, hey, I think that I have a great idea, or I have an idea, it might not work, but they feel safe to share it. It might not be perfect, or maybe it might be crazy or even perceived stupid. But if in your organization the psychological safety is high enough, people will have the courage to say it. Without psychological safety, you will very, very, very hard to establish the innovations, innovation system or innovation initiatives in your organization. Okay, so let's assume that your culture in your organization support the innovation initiatives. And let's say that you made the innovations as super important strategic decision. And now you implement some creative workshops or brainstormings in order to get ideas that you might implement and you might monetize it. And now you end up with a lot of ideas, which is always better than have no ideas. But also to end up with many ideas might be a challenge. And our next step is to select the right idea. We have many techniques how to select the idea. I choose this one because it's really it's easy and very, very wide. It has very wide options to implement. The 3 selection criteria, so that you choose your ideas based on the value, originality, and feasibility. And when we assess the idea through the lens of value, we need to ask ourselves, what is the value of the idea in relation to the challenge? So will this idea solve the challenge that we are trying to solve? And what are the benefits, costs, and risks of this specific idea? Because one idea might perfectly solve the challenge, but it comes with a lot of risk. The second criteria is originality. If we want to be innovative, of course, we are trying to find originality. So how different or original is our idea? Usually here, the more the better. And nevertheless, the idea needs to be feasible. So we also put the ideas through the lens of feasibility. How can we turn our solution into action? Do we have the necessary resources? And of course, at the end, we need to implement. What are key steps to develop and implement idea? Let's go through these steps. First step is feasibility assessment. This might be really the boring one, because when you try to develop new idea, we are all very excited about, but within this excitement, we might forget that we need to check technical, market, and financial feasibility. And let's stop with technical feasibility. The question you need to answer here is, can you realistically develop the idea with current technology or resources? You can also divide ideas into, yes, we can do it immediately with the current technology or resources. And the second package might be, yes, but not yet. So that we actually have a bunch of ideas that we can turn on later and see maybe there is a time for those ideas that were not technically feasible in maybe a year ago. Then is market feasibility. Of course, we want to customers or buyers for our idea or our product that will came out of this idea. Is that correct? So let's do the market feasibility. Is there demand for our idea, and who are the potential customer, and how big the market is? And nevertheless, the financial feasibility. Do we have the financial resources or a way to secure funding to bring the idea to life? If the answer is no, this is another chance to have a great brainstorming with a great creativity. How can we find the money for our idea? Step 2, create a prototype and define a business model. The trap that we often fell in is that we want that our product or service is perfect before we go to market, which is the graveyard of many ideas. The perfection is graveyard of most ideas. And here, the silver line is done is better than perfect, meaning that you first build a minimum viable product. The second thing is define how the product will generate revenue. You remember I already mentioned the Netflix. They don't sell a product, but they do sell a subscription. Define the way how you will monetize your idea. And also one thing, assess scalability. Can you sell only 100 pieces, or you can sell 1,000,000 pieces? How can idea grow and develop, not just develop, but evolve over time? If you have a product, what kind of services can you attach to that product later on? So it's good to think already in the beginning of the innovation management process about the business model. Step number 3, test and get feedback. When you develop your minimum viable product, validate with real users. And I suggest to my clients when they have completely new product, try the formula FFF. That stands for family, friends, and fools. They are the ones who are willing to test your prototype and give you an honest feedback. The next step after the FFF is real pilot testing, which means that you release the product or service, but to only a very small group of users, and you make them pay for your product and service, and then you ask for the feedback. And based on that feedback, you develop further. So you iterate, you make changes, you improve whatever you are developing based on the feedback. So don't try to develop perfect product. Do the minimum viable product, get on a market, test it, and based on the feedback, change it. Step number 4, launch and monitor. When you implement some improvements, release. So continue refining the product. This is basically, for very innovative companies, this is never-ending story. So they always try to develop, to improve, to change also the existing products and services. You also need to develop a go-to-market strategy, because it's not enough to develop perfect product. You also need to know how to sell it. So go-to-market strategy means that you think about what marketing channel would be the most suitable for your product. Maybe you need multiple marketing channels. Maybe you need, I don't know, B2B, B2C. So how will potential customers find your product on market, and what is also the user experience as the whole? Absolutely. Setting the KPIs is the first step. The second step, very important, is to monitor and evaluate success based on your KPIs that you set for this specific product or service, and protect intellectual property. Regarding the intellectual property, this is something that a lot of organizations forget about it, or if they don't have legal counseling already implemented in the organization, they don't put a lot of emphasis on that, which might be really shame, because someone might steal your idea and you don't want that. So consult with intellectual property professional. He or she will be the best address to seek the advice regarding the intellectual property. Okay, so those were steps how to launch and monitor. And if you remember the framework, we are almost at the end. And now, if you listen to me very carefully during this presentation, you should know this answer to this question. What is a secret ingredient to successful innovation in general? Open your mic. Almost no innovation happens in solitude of one and only entrepreneur. The secret ingredient, which is not the secret at all, is collaboration. Whether you are a huge organization or one-man band, without collaboration in each and every phase of innovation management system, you have to collaborate, you have to communicate with others. And yes, the collaboration is the essential part in every step of the innovation management. Okay, we are almost at the end. And now I am opening the stage for you, dear participants. Are there any questions? And even not necessarily the questions, but if some of you would like to share your experience with creativity or innovation system, please, you are invited to do so. I will stop sharing my presentation just to be able to see you better. Okay. And now, as I said, the floor is open for your questions, for your thoughts, for your suggestions, maybe. If there was something that you didn't maybe catch, or maybe you need additional explanation, I am happy to do so. And I will wait for another minute. If there is no questions or suggestions, we will conclude this presentation.
There's a question on the on chat.
On chat, okay, let me see.
Yeah.
I think I have some challenges with chat, but my friend who is here with me will help me. Can you read?
If you want, I can read.
Yeah,
it. No problem.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Jans Furlan, I don't know if I said correctly. Sorry.
Almost.
Ask: can innovation value be measured?
Can innovation value be measured?
Yeah.
Absolutely, through many KPIs that we went through at the beginning of the presentation. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the most obvious answer would be yes, the value of innovation is in the revenue that we get from the innovation. But there is many more KPIs that we can monitor and follow. Also, the sustainability impact, many more that we went through this presentation at the beginning. And I hope that was the question. Janis, let me know if I answer your question.
Yeah, I responded with like an okay. So
Okay.
I think it was the answer
We,
that needed.
we will take that as yes. Okay. Well, in that case, if there is no further questions, I would like to say a big thanks for being here. I hope this presentation was usable and effective. You will get my presentation. And thank you again. And now I am giving the word back to Agnes to conclude the whole session.
Yeah, I will share again my screen for like 5 minutes more. I won't take it any longer. Just to, okay, here we go. Just to remind you to please follow the pages of the project, because for us and for you too is really important, both for sharing the updates of the project, the achievements, and also because in the website we will upload the materials to rewatch the presentation, the training, and all the other achievement and updates of the project, and also because it's important for us to reach a larger audience. And then and also I wanted to remind you that in December we will have a networking, and you will have more information about it, where you can participate and be in contact with other participants of the same field. So if you want, you can have more information about this appointment through the webpage. And I also will give you the link for both the social pages and for the Q&A. Brigitta already asked you if you have some question, but if you have other questions in these days, you can always make question by this Q&A that I'll share with you like in 1 minute. Or through this QR code, and also give us your feedback if you have something to say, okay, you can do better in this way or in that way, and see you in the last session of the training on the 25th of November at the same timing. So thank you. I will stop sharing and give you the okay. I text in the chat the 3 link for the pages, for the social pages, and the link for the Q&A. So if there are no more questions, I thank you, Brigitta, for the training. You were so good, and I like a lot the open-minded, the invite to open minds and to be more creative and to collaborate with each other. It was a great training. Thank you. Thank you to everybody to participate in the training.
Bye.
See you on the 25. Bye.
Bye.
Georgia.